What insights can you provide on the concept of collective consciousness and its influence on humanity?
Well, it's like this, okay? So if you are if you are playing a record player, right? You have a record player. We all remember what those are like, or maybe the kids, the youngsters don't, but they can imagine that they're streaming a particular station. They have picked a particular artist on their streaming system. Or those of you who do remember records, you would have a shelf of records, and you would
Hmm.
take one record out at a time and you would play it. And so you can think of like the needle coming down to the record and the mechanism of the record moving around, and the needle is like your brain is that needle. Your brain is that ability to perceive. It is that point of perception, and the point of perception is very important here. It's this focused point of perception. And yet that shelf of records exists. And so you're playing one record at one time in this point of perception. And yet you can imagine that your next door neighbor, the person two doors down from you in the apartment complex, or down the block in your cul-de-sac, or on the other side of the city, may have a different collection of records, or maybe they even have the same collection of records, or at least some overlapping records. And they can put their point of perception, their brain down, and start playing that music. And then they are feeling into that wavelength, or that set of frequencies, or that mathematical equations playing out through the voices and the soundings. And yet there is the records of all time, of all music, of all beingness that exists. And so you are creating artificial sensations of otherness so that you can focus in on individual points of perception. And we are feeling very musical today.